We've added land to state natural areas, state wildlife areas. We have a couple of our own nature preserves. One is Westport Drumlin, just by Wanakee, and then Patrick Marsh over by Sun Prairie. And so Ginny and Paul and some others asked us to come and talk a little bit about what we do and maybe give some ideas for how you can move forward with this idea about actually creating a wonderful natural area permanently at Hartmeyer. I've got a couple of annual reports just to pass around. Welcome to keep them if anybody wants more information about us. Anita. So the way a lot of land conservation works is because plans are developed. So city comprehensive plans, town plans, village plans, county plans, state plans that help make it possible to identify areas that the community thinks should be protected. And it could be because it's a natural area, it could be for recreation, for a soccer field, it could be to protect farmland, protect a beautiful vista. And when those plans become written and adopted by the local community, that opens the doors for funding. There's various pots of money to help protect land in Wisconsin. We have a state program called the Knowles Nelson Stewardship Program, which has funded for many years a lot of great acquisitions statewide. We have the Dane County Conservation Fund, which has worked right here in Dane County to add land to places like Cherokee Marsh. City of Madison has their parks, dedicated parks fund, things like that. So as places get identified, it makes it easier if you're working with a landowner and you need to buy the land if they can't donate it to you, and we don't know if that's the case or not with the Hartmeyer Trust, to get a good plan and good solid vision about what can happen in this area. And so, as Ginny was saying, the city's strategic assessment for the Oscar Mayer area does say that the marsh should be protected, but maybe not much more than that. How big that is, how it would be used, what it would look like, I think that is all waited to be fleshed out, and this is where I think you guys can play an incredibly important role by helping to bring the community voice to what could happen, what could be the opportunities there. You know, the marsh itself is pretty small. It's on a tract of land that's about 30 or 35 acres that's owned by the Hartmeyer Trust, so it's not part of the Oscar Mayer holdings. It was leased to Oscar Mayer for many years. Longtime resident, you know, there used to be softball fields on it, and there's still the footprint of some of those things there. There's a parking lot there, things like that. Well, what should it become? And so this is where community dialogue is really important. And Tony is recently, one reason I asked Tony to come, who works with me, to talk about our experience at Mendota Elementary School, just over on School Street over here. They have a big wide open campus, and they want to add nature to it and make it more available for their kids to get outside and learn about nature. And so Tony's been working with the school on a visioning process. And that's really important for helping the community come together and say, this is what we want to have happen here. And I think the same thing could happen very beneficially at Hartmeyer, because the city's special assessment plan just says, hey, we do want to protect the marsh, but that's kind of the beginning and the end of that. What really could this be to the community? You know, we know that, for instance, that Briar Patch has a building right across the street. How could their clients use the property? How could other people in the community use it? Is it a good spot for a continuation of a bike path? All these ideas, I think, can come together in a way that can be then presented to the city and hopefully be very persuasive and say, this is our goal. And then if the city adopts that, then you try to implement it. And that's where having a strong plan makes the doors open for funding. If the Hartmeyer Trust can't donate the land but has to sell it, a group like ours could help make that acquisition possible using funding from some of these government agencies that we talked about, and also private dollars as well. So that's kind of what we do. We've been doing this for 36, 7 years. We've protected many thousands of acres of land in Dane County and the surrounding areas. And so we just want to come and offer you some advice and ideas about that. And I'd like Tony to talk a little bit about the visioning work he's been doing at Mendota.
Yeah, so not completely similar, but not totally dissimilar either. Over at Mendota Elementary School on School Road, I've been working over the last year, about a year, on visioning what we're calling now a green schoolyard might look like over there. So if you're familiar with Mendota Elementary School, it's a big open campus, and there's no trees. There's very little to do out there. So you know, students don't have shade during summer school or even, you know, during school time. And there's not a lot of opportunities to learn at recess, or some other things identified by teachers. So we worked with the students to identify some things that they'd like to see on the school campus. And then we worked with the teachers as well, what would they like to see, and then we brought those ideas and asked for more ideas from the community during their Mendota Street Block Party, which they do every year right before school starts. So we had some maps and some visual things for people to look at and discuss what they might want to see on a school ground. Mendota is also a community school, so they offer other resources and benefits to being part of that community. So we were able to facilitate a discussion there, and we facilitated some other discussions with students and teachers, community members, parents, and really just getting all the stakeholders, what would they like to see on a schoolyard? And really that's gonna help us in a number of ways. It's gonna help us get community support and buy-in. It's gonna help us also raise funding for the project that we're putting together. We raised some funding to get a landscape architect to design what, the kids say they want these 7 different things, teachers want these 3 things, how do we put all those great ideas together? So we were able to hire a landscape architect to take a look at what that would look like, and that plan as well we can take to funders along with a curriculum plan that we're developing. We want to make sure that if we're going to invest some time into something, we're doing it right, and we're getting all the stakeholders and community members that want a voice to be able to speak on what they'd like to see. So it can't just be us coming in and saying these are the things that you need, and it can't be just environmental people saying this is exactly what we need. If you want community support for a project, there's got to be community voice involved. So that's what we've been doing over at Mendota Elementary School.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We have a couple minutes for a question if anybody has one or two.
When, wonderful project, Tony.
Yeah.
When is it coming to fruition, or is it still just dialogue?
So we've actually developed a landscape architecture plan, and we're now working with the teachers to see exactly, what sort of curriculum help and support do they need to be able to use the space in a way that meets their curriculum standards. So once that curriculum's done, we'll start fundraising probably in the next couple months.
For how much is your goal?
We're not entirely sure yet. There's a number of things that we need to, they want an outdoor learning space where they can have actual classroom outside, and that will require, footings for a roof. They have one over at Lakeview Elementary School. Once I take a look at that, is that $10,000 project, a $30,000 project? I'll add up all those things, put them together, and the big thing here is that we're not asking people to limit their vision whatsoever. We want everybody to dream big, and then we can see what's fundable, see what we can implement, those kinds of things. We don't want people to limit what they're thinking about. Dreaming big, and then we'll see what we can accomplish from there. Maybe the whole green schoolyard maybe needs to be done in 3 phases or something like that, so we can fundraise at different times.
And I wonder, would you involve families in some of the
Absolutely.
work?
Yeah, absolutely. So we had some students and their parents or family members help us during that block party where we were soliciting some feedback and ideas. We also had them come out and help us build a little stump circle, and this year at the block party they're going to help us build some boxes for some raised beds for a little garden area that they're trying to reclaim. So
Thank you very much.
yeah.
Paul's got a comment.
Just to tie in with what Tony just said, how it might relate in one aspect to the Hartmeyer natural area, we've been bringing, I just got back from doing an outing with kids at the Warner Kids Summer Camp. And during the school year, we take kids from Sherman Middle School right up the road here, quite close. It's actually part of the ecosystem, and I can vouch for that because the 3 sandhill cranes that nest over here at Hartmeyer
Yeah.
are over in the schoolyard right now. So, I mean, it's close, only a few blocks. And we've walked the kids over there, even though we didn't have a lot of official access. I had permission from Oscar Meyer to go there to do minor things. Jim and I walked it, did a bluebird trail, that's another vision possibility here, just so that everybody says that's relevant, in that that could be a resource close to Sherman School. They do a lot of nature, more tightly bound to curricula nature activities at Sherman also, that I'm not involved with, but I know there's other people who are doing wonderful things. So just in the thinking caps, directly relevant in my mind.
I'm guessing Shabazz too.
Yeah, the Shabazz part is definitely into, they actually have curricula where the art, the math, and English or something all tie their curricula to some nature topic at the same time.
Sure.
It's cool.